Welcome back, everyone. This is the third segment in the three-part series, Finding More Time and Getting More Done. I'm so glad that you've made it through the first two parts with us. I hope that you've been invested in making these self-examinations and considering how you're spending your time. This segment today is one of my absolute favorite topics, and it is how do you leverage your calendar to manage your to-do list and get more done? As before, I'm going to share my screen so you can follow along with me. All right, here we are. You can see an overview of where we've been. We looked at where all your time goes. Hopefully now you have a better sense of where all your time has actually been going. In the second segment, we looked at whether or not you're triaging or are you actually executing in accordance with your priorities. This is the last segment where we dig into the actual solution to everything we've kind of learned. Okay, calendaring. This is the tool that I use on a regular basis to manage my to-do list and get more done. Here we are, step one in the calendaring process. In order to start leveraging our calendar to manage our to-do list, we have to get really clear about everything that is on the to-do list. And that's not just everything that you have to do professionally, but it's everything you have to do personally as well. When we think about our work projects, I want you to make sure that we're listing out everything that also goes in with them. Researching, editing, meeting with the client, partner, paralegal, whoever it may be to discuss the project, time for editing. Every single piece of the project should be broken out into this to-do list. In addition to that professional list, I want you to also include personal items. It might be sending flowers to a friend, ordering cupcakes for your niece's birthday, finding a dress to wear to your friend's wedding. All of those little things, we want to put them on this list as well. If you're someone who wants to meal prep, who wants to go to the gym a certain number of times a week, who likes to cook and needs fresh groceries to do it, all of those tasks should also go on this list. For me personally, I make sure that this list always includes time for meditation, yoga, going to the gym, meal prepping, things like that. I have to have them on my to-do list so I can make sure that they get done as we move forward into the next step. The second step in this process is, okay, now we have this massive list. We're going to look at it and we're going to assign a priority to everything on the list. And we're going to do this 1 week at a time. So there could be a huge chunk of things that just are not for this week, they're for the other week. And so everything that needs to be done this week is likely going to get a much higher priority. So we want to start getting clear, as we've talked before, what's important, why is it important, how does it fit into who I want to be personally and professionally, and then we rate it accordingly. Now that we have a list of action items that are high, medium, or low priority, we then assign a time period to them. As you do this, I want you to really force yourself to exercise constraint. Our perfectionist brains are going to tell us, I need 10 hours to do that project. I need 20 hours to do that project, uninterrupted time, which doesn't exist. We have to really challenge those fear-based thoughts and say, okay, what if I just took an hour here to get started, to think about the project, to organize the project, to develop an outline? What if instead of thinking I need 10 hours, what if I did it in 5 hours? And I told myself I could do it in 5 hours. We create those artificial deadlines. If you think about projects that you have waited to do until the very last minute, and you just crank them out and you really get in the flow, and at the end of it, you're just shocked how quickly and efficiently you were able to get that done. When if you had asked yourself weeks before, you probably would have said, oh, I need 5 hours to do that. When you're under pressure, when you're under a deadline, you execute and you execute quickly. We want to artificially create that here as we start assigning time to each of these tasks, forcing yourself to consider, what if I did this more efficiently? What if I really just focused and I only did that for half an hour? Could I get it done? And seeing what happens. In the next step, we take that list and we start putting everything on your calendar. And I mean everything. So for me, I might have a 30-minute block on a given day during a week. And it's all those personal phone calls. I got to get the oil changed in my vehicle. I need to make a doctor's appointment. I need to make a dentist appointment. I need to call my mom. I might put all of those things in a 30-minute block on my calendar. I have a recurring meeting for 15 minutes to do some yoga and meditate every day. It's there staring me in the face every time I sit down to work. I can see at this point in the day, we're going to take a break and we're going to do these things. Everything goes onto your calendar. And then we get rid of the to-do list. And we do this every week. Why is this so critical? When we're trying to focus on a project, and we've got all these things flying around. Oh my God, I've got that project I totally forgot about. I need to send that email to so-and-so. Someone's knocking at my door. I've got a voice message. I need to send a card to my mom. I got to get a dress for that wedding coming up. All of those things flying around are not conducive to focusing and getting anything done efficiently. Even as I say those things, hypothetically, it makes me anxious. Doing this is going to allow you to get all of that crap out of your head and onto paper, so that the next time you're in the middle of a project, you're like, oh my God, I got to get a card for my mom for her birthday. You can answer that worried thought with, oh, I've got it scheduled. I have 30 minutes of personal tasks that I'm going to do on Friday. Moving back to what I was doing. We calmly redirect and let that worried thought go. So not only does it free the clutter, but it brings down kind of the panicked energy that we have flying around that makes it really difficult to get anything done. It also allows us to better understand our capacity. Once you take that to-do list and you literally put it on your calendar, you have a visual illustration of your capacity and the priority for each of those items on your any given week. So when someone comes to you and says, hey, do you have time for this project? You can look at your calendar and say, well, shoot, I've got 10 hours of a really high priority project that I need to do today and tomorrow in order to get it done in time. And you can say with clarity, no, I have this priority project. And after that, I have this priority project. Or maybe it's, well, the first 2 days of the week, I have this high priority project, but I can get to this on Thursday or Friday. How long do you think it will take? It really allows you clarity as to what you're capable of in any given moment. It allows you to avoid that overwhelm and overload that we always get ourselves into. It also demonstrates to others that you understand the demands of your work and what is being asked of you, and that you're wanting to do it right, but you're willing to do it in alignment with the priorities that are already there. You can share those priorities with them, tell them what's going on, and let them tell you if you've misprioritized things. And then you can have a discussion about that. But in the moment, we can say with clarity, this is what my time looks like. And if I don't want to work 80 hours this week, I have to say no. And so it's going to allow you that ability to see that before we get backed into a corner. It's also going to allow you to practice commitment. This is one of the most challenging pieces that comes from this work. That reminder is going to come up on your calendar to start working on that horrible project or to go to the gym, whatever it may be, and you're not going to want to do it. That is human nature. We talked about that motivational triad: maintain consistency, avoid pain. Signing off work at 5 p.m. and going to the gym might cause some discomfort. It might cause some pain. Doing that project that you've been kind of dreading is not going to feel good in the moment, but it allows you to develop that muscle of commitment and follow through to yourself, so that when you put something on your calendar, it's as good as done, because you're going to have your own back, because you know, I committed to doing this for myself in that moment, and I'm going to follow through and I'm going to do that. As you start practicing that, you're going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're going to learn a lot about why it's hard to do these things, and why this project is something we've been dreading, and why it is hard for us to go to the gym. The more we can learn about why these things are hard, the more we can work on following through and executing on them. This practice is going to make you come face to face with that reality, and you're going to be forced to choose. Do I want to follow through on my commitment or not? And in that, there's going to be learning. With that in mind, I do want to caution, this tool is not intended to punish yourself with. Again, as lawyers, we are perfectionists. We are incredibly hard on ourselves. And I see all too often that individuals will use this tool just to be really hard on themselves. They will schedule out every minute of every day for 16 hours a day, every day. That is not the point. The point is to clear the clutter in your brain, get clarity around your capacity, and start understanding yourself a little bit better, learning how to follow through on commitments. It's not intended to help you find a way to be superhuman and do 10,000 things. I would really encourage you to use this as a tool to protect yourself and not a sword to beat yourself up with. Okay. Lastly, the goal of this is that it will allow you to approach each day a little bit simpler and a little bit easier. It's easy to want to triage and get lost in your email every day. Like, what's happening? What's happening? Oh my God, I need to deal with this, right? No, we have a calendar, we have a plan. Perhaps mid-morning, we've scheduled a half an hour to dig into our emails and see what's going on. But we can't look at that right now because email is not a number one priority. Maybe it's this project over here. Or maybe I'm just going to cull my emails to see if there's any of them relating to this priority project, and then I'm going to go back. But it really forces you to kind of step away from that tendency to triage, get lost in your email, and make better choices. A couple tips. Make sure you're making time on your calendar for meals, for breaks, and for free time. As I said before, this is not intended to be used to be terrible to yourself. So give yourself a cutoff. I'm not scheduling anything on my calendar after 6 or 7 or whatever it may be. Or there's a couple days a week where I'm just having open time and I get to do whatever I want to do. Really force yourself to build in that flexibility as well. When new tasks come in, if you're able to, just put it on your calendar immediately. Okay, so-and-so just dropped off this project at my door. I'm going to schedule a half an hour tomorrow to look at it and think about it. Or this thing has come up and it's more of a high priority or higher priority than everything I've already got scheduled for today. So I need to move these chips around on my calendar. We make those kinds of decisions, but we make them from a place of clarity around what's important and why we're moving things around. Reserving flex time is also important, particularly for those of us that work on cases or deals where there's always these influx of emails coming in. You might want to reserve time to dig into your email and see what's in there. Or you might want to try and reserve an hour every day for just chaos and emergencies that happen. That will allow you to catch those last minute things and catch those new priorities that just show up at your doorstep. But you want to be able to reserve that time and protect it. It might also be an opportunity for you to catch time that spills over. Maybe we underestimated the amount of time that one project would take. That's great. I've got an hour flex time built in. We'll just move into that. This process may also require you to have some difficult conversations. If you have 3 priority projects that are due tomorrow and you realistically think they're all going to take 20 hours a piece, you're going to have some conversations, because when you put those pieces on your calendar, you can see this isn't going to work unless I just don't sleep for a couple of days. That's a choice that you get to make, but at least you'll be able to anticipate that happening and go have conversations before you're knee deep in an all-nighter or a mental breakdown. Lastly, this takes practice. I often compare this to my meditation practice. It's something that I have to flex day in and day out. Some weeks it works perfectly, some weeks it doesn't. Some weeks my whole calendar gets thrown out the window, but it's something that I practice at because I understand the value of it. So again, this is not something that's intended to be perfect out of the gate. You have to find a way to make it work for you. All right, my friends, that is the end of the last step. Hopefully by now, you know, where does all the time actually go? Am I really too busy, or am I just mismanaging the choices that I make every day? Hopefully you've learned how to maintain your focus day in and day out and actually set priorities and act in accordance with those priorities. And I'm really hopeful that this calendaring tool will help you manage that to-do list and get more clarity around how you live your life day to day and how you make choices about where you're spending your time. For those of you who may be interested in taking this work a little bit deeper, we have just skimmed the surface of this time management work. I promise you, as you employ these tools, more things are going to come up, more opportunities for difficult conversations. You might find that you're having a hard time following through on those commitments to yourself. Those are the types of things that we would dig into in a coaching relationship. If that's something that's interesting to you, or if you're just remotely curious, I would really encourage you to reach out and schedule a free hour-long consultation with me. Bring a challenge that you're having. Maybe it's with some of the work from this webinar. Maybe it's something completely unrelated. Bring something with you and let's work through it. And I can show you the value of a coaching relationship. You can check out my websites I've got listed here, but certainly send me any questions or comments you might have. I hope this information was helpful to you. Best of luck to you, and I hope to meet many of you in the future.